Michael Magnano, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I would love to learn about personal training today, so tell me a little bit about personal training.
Well, I love personal training. I really feel like it's my purpose in life.
Mhm.
It's something that, helps people in a lot of ways, mentally, physically, emotionally. I've always been a physical type of person. Growing up, martial arts first,
Mhm.
um, then sports. But yeah, personal training is is my passion.
Okay. When did you get into it as a profession?
I got into it probably about 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And before that, it was just working out for football, and that's when I really started getting serious.
Mhm.
And then I was in the Marine Corps, and when I got out of the Marine Corps, I wanted to get back in shape because I had fell out of shape because I had hurt my back. I had a disc injury,
Mhm.
but I remember going to the bars, and I was working security at the time,
Mhm.
and I would always tell the girls when they'd ask, they said, "What do you do?" And I would say, "Oh, I'm a personal trainer." I didn't want to say I was a security guard. But anyway, I made that happen. That's a reality now.
Okay, amazing. So about 20 years or so. And do you remember your very first client for personal training?
One of the first ones I had was this high-powered CEO type. Her
Mhm.
name was Cheryl,
Mhm.
and it was at New York Sports Club, and she was three times a week, 1 hour, but she was at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So it was brutal, but it was a good way to start. And me coming out of the Marines, I had kind of like more of an authoritarian type of style,
Yeah.
but that wasn't cutting it for her. She was like, you know what? I'm not one of your recruits or not in the Marines. Because she's the boss. So I learned a lesson there on, you have to, with your style, your approach has to be different for each individual, how you motivate them, talk to them, and just you always have to try to be nice, and
Okay.
you don't want to it ruin somebody's day. You want that hour to be the best part of their day, actually.
Okay. And so that 5 a.m. start time for that first client, and
Oh yeah, 3 times a week.
three times a week, but also coming from the Marine Corps, so there were probably some early mornings
Oh
during that.
yes.
Tell me about that a little bit.
Oh, there's some early mornings. I mean, boot camp, of course. You're waking up 5:30, 5 o'clock, sometimes 4. You're tired from all the training, and it's just go, 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 go. They're yelling at you. They're trying to stress you out. So it was culture shock.
Mhm. Okay.
But you get used to it. I've never really been a morning person though, but you got to get out and get the bag. So whatever it calls for, you got to do it. That's the
Okay.
discipline.
Got it. So it was high school football, then it was Marine Corps, then it was security guard, and then personal training. So
Yeah.
with that progression, so what at what point in time did you that light bulb kind of go off and say, I know what I want to do? Because it's your calling right now, it's your purpose right now, right? So what point did that kind of say, I know what I want to do, and this is it, personal training?
Well, I was having a rough go.
Mhm.
Um, um, I don't want to get too deep, but I had a few problems. I had a few problems,
Mhm.
setbacks in life.
Mhm.
Um, but I met somebody somewhere
Mhm.
who told me expressed to her that I had an interest in personal training, and she, gave me the tools necessary to get my first certification.
Mhm.
Um, and because I was always into, like I said, I was always into the physical stuff. And I remember I was in a low place at that time. And what always brought me back was fitness,
Mhm.
getting, finding out who I am and who I want to become.
Mhm.
Fitness had a big thing to do with that.
Mhm.
And it's at that point in time
Mhm.
that I realized that that was going to be my calling. And then I got an opportunity to work at New York Sports Club. That was my first
Mhm.
gig,
Mhm.
and it was just part time, and I was doing security part time.
Mhm.
But I was good at it. I found out that I was actually kind of good at it. I sized myself up to
Mhm.
the other trainers, and I was a little bit more competitive and a little bit more cocky back in those days. Now I'm more like, okay, everybody's got their own style. I try not to step on anybody's pork. But so I was like, I'm actually kind of good at this, and I like it.
Mhm.
So and it just took off from there.
Okay. Which location was it in Manhattan for New York Sports Club?
Oh, it wasn't in Manhattan, it was in Stanford. We
Is
used
it
to have
Stanford? Okay.
yeah, in Stanford, they used to have a New York sports club connected to the mall. It was off Atlantic. You can access it from Atlantic or Street, or you can access it from what's around the other side, from the garage in the mall.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a good
And
spot. It's like a basement.
okay. And now you have your own company, Potentiate Fitness. Am I pronouncing that right?
Potentiate fit.
Potentiate Fitness.
That's correct.
So so you decided to go the entrepreneur route, start up your own start your own company basically, right? Your own personal training company. So when did that start to manifest? Because so it's New York Sports Club. Were there other gyms along the way and before you started your own?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, there were.
Okay.
Um, I worked for Stanford Athletic Club
Hmm.
um, for short time,
Hmm.
and then after that, I worked for Crunch Fitness in Norwalk, Connecticut,
Hmm.
for a long time. It was about 8 to 10 years or so. They gave me that was a good job. I liked the people that I worked for before they got bought out.
Hmm.
And I got I really got my feet wet there and gained a lot of experience and started doing well. But at that time, I also started developing some outside clients, some private clients.
Hmm.
So, I'm no dummy. I'm, I'm giving a cut to Crunch.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I want more action here. So I took people, of course, all trainers do it. We say that we don't do it, but so there was some side work going on there. But eventually what happened was COVID happened.
Hmm.
COVID, while everybody was at home, scared and not wanting to come out, and people like, oh, what am I going to do? I can't work. I'm like, guys, this is the deal. We're going outside. We're going to work out, have some equipment. And it was actually, it was, I did more work during COVID than a lot of parts of my life.
Hmm.
And people loved it because it got them out of the house. They were doing something healthy.
Hmm.
Granted, we were like 6 feet away and
Hmm.
spraying my equipment and doing all this, taking the precautions to make them feel comfortable.
Hmm.
But me, I was nonchalant about it the whole time. I was just like, okay, this will pass.
Hmm.
And it did.
Hmm.
We're here now. But yeah, they kind of pushed me out. So I started doing more private work. And then when I came back into the gym, there was less of me at the gym, and there was more of me working outside with my clients
Hmm.
or at their houses or parks or renting space from gyms.
Hmm.
But they didn't want a part-time mic. They wanted a full-time mic.
Hmm.
So they told me, it's best we part ways. So I was like, it was a blessing in disguise, thanks to God.
Hmm. Amazing. So when you say the people getting out of the house during COVID, that was helpful to them, and you mean like in some cases, literally, you guys were working out outdoors, right? At the park in some cases, as well as other
In
locations.
some in some cases, in
Okay.
some cases, I was going to their house.
Hmm.
Um, and Yeah, people were sometimes they never even really left to do anything, but that would be when they would leave
Hmm.
and when they would get out and they looked forward to it.
Hmm.
And I think it helped with their sanity a little bit.
Hmm.
And also they kept them in shape. I understand a lot of people didn't um go they didn't do any physical activity and they got depressed or they didn't continue with exercise because they didn't have the motivation or didn't have anybody pushing them. And that's fine. Everybody has their own process.
Hmm.
But I felt like I was very helpful and instrumental in a lot of people's lives, and they were instrumental in my life at that time, because I needed purpose, and I had to continue bringing in the bread for the family.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
not going to lay down.
That's pretty
Not
powerful, I
until the
think.
Lord makes me lay down, you know?
Okay, all right. That's pretty powerful. Thanks for sharing that. That's and um and Sometimes I've noticed in personal training sessions you'll incorporate a Bible verse, right? You'll mention something from the Bible. So what are some of your what are some of your go-tos? I remember there was one like the Book of Job where it's from turmoil to restoration, right? Things like that. So
Yeah.
what are some other things from the Bible that you incorporate that are kind of in the middle of a personal training session to help
Well,
people?
I told you when we first started off, I'm iron sharpens iron and one man another. And that's from the book of Proverbs. That's Solomon, the
Hmm.
great king.
Hmm.
And this wisdom that is in the Bible, the Word of God,
Hmm.
is now
Hmm.
is brought a lot of peace and purpose to my life.
Hmm.
But there's that. Iron sharpens iron, one man another.
Hmm.
So if you're a brother, have a mind, and I can better you, and you can better me
Hmm.
with whatever your God-given talents are. You might have a God-given talent that I might be able to benefit from, and I might have something to give you.
Hmm.
And then we get honest with each other,
Hmm.
and we better ourselves as men,
Hmm.
courageous men,
Hmm. I like
you
that.
know, walking through the fire together.
Hmm. And you had mentioned that right earlier on with that first client, the high-powered CEO in New York Sports Club, where it kind of started as like almost an authoritarian approach, and she said, "Hey,
Hmm.
like I like to be trained, maybe not exactly that way, right?"
Yeah, yeah.
So how does that work when you come into a new client and you have your kind of your maybe your default approach, right? But how does that work when it comes to adjusting to the client's preferred way of being trained? Like where do you give and take, or where are those boundaries where you're still doing your thing, but you're also adapting to the client's needs?
That's a good question. The best approach is just to be yourself,
Mhm.
be humble, be nice, listen to them. Always, you do less of the talking.
Mhm.
You let them tell you exactly what they're looking for.
Mhm.
You listen to them intently, and because you're doing everything out of love,
Mhm.
because you want what's best for them.
Mhm.
So if you take that approach, then everything else kind of falls in place.
Mhm.
You keeps things light. I
Mhm.
don't think it's good to yell at people, but
Mhm.
you can say, "Hey, come on, man. I knew you had one more in you."
Mhm.
You know, um, and then you just tell them what your expectations for them and what you see as their potential and
Mhm.
where they can be, what they can get out of this exercise.
Mhm.
And you explain things in a graceful way
Mhm.
instead of taking the authoritarian,
Mhm.
the what is it? The negative feedback.
Mhm.
We want to build people up here, but you want to be honest as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I just I'm just about being myself,
Okay.
and listening to the clients first.
Okay. And interesting. So when I'm just thinking about playing high school football, right, and probably some of the coaches there, and then being in the Marine Corps and some of
Yeah.
the drill instructors. So I gotta believe some of that was instilled through the way you came up through sports and through the military. Kind of you had
Yeah.
that aspect of you that you were able to tap into. So
Yeah.
I would love to hear a little bit more about joining the Marine Corps. But thank you for your service, and would love
Yep.
to hear a little bit more about that.
Of course. Well, the military was something that it was kind of pushed on me by my father,
Mhm.
John.
Mhm.
He's passed away, God rest his soul. But he says, "Hey, I don't think you're college material. This is the honest truth." So he's like, "I think you're going to be best suited in the military."
Mhm.
And around that time, there was a couple upperclassmen who graduated, and a couple of them were going to the Marines, and they had talked about going to the Marines. And I always saw the Marines as like the badasses, the best of the best. You know, the smaller service,
Mhm.
smallest service. Nobody wants to join the Marines usually,
Mhm.
but I was like, I want something hard.
Mhm.
I want something challenging. And as far as that go, it was hard.
Mhm.
Boot camp was hard,
Mhm.
but before I dealt with all of that
Mhm.
and went through that and got through that, I had other things in my life that had forged me.
Mhm.
So that's that I learned some lessons in the Marines though. I
Mhm.
learned about humbling myself, about keeping my mouth shut,
Mhm.
about playing the game sometimes,
Mhm.
because the Marines is you have to have tact, you have to have discipline, you have to know when to, you know, you really got to watch what you say and watch what you do in an environment like that. And I
Mhm.
learned those lessons
Mhm.
through getting in trouble
Mhm.
in the Marines
Mhm.
as as I went on. But now I wish I could say to that younger Marine, um, as an older man now that has more wisdom, I had an attitude, I had an edge
Mhm.
from my past, I believe.
Mhm.
But and they don't put up with attitude over in the Marine Corps. I was a good Marine, but
Mhm.
I not always the humblest.
Mhm.
There were some times when I would be disrespectful and stuff like that. But always where it counted though, where it counted in the Marine Corps, I was always good at that, like going to the field, like doing the exercise, doing the live fire ranges. It was for me, it was always about what it means to be a Marine and the action of doing Marine things. I was in the infantry. I
Mhm.
was a rifleman. So we
Mhm.
trained for war.
Mhm.
So the people would say, "Oh, Magnano, you're not the best garrison Marine, but I'll take you to combat any day." And
Mhm.
that makes me feel good.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah, but Marines love the Marines.
Mhm. What's one very specific memory that you have from the Marines that's one of your favorite memories from there specifically?
Oh man. Hmm. There's a lot of them, man. There's a lot of them. Um, some of them I can't go into, but you know, we traveled, we went to Okinawa, went to mainland Tokyo, mainland Japan. We did amphibious assaults on the beach with the AAVs and the live fire exercises, the ranges and stuff. I didn't go to combat. Um, I got out before we went to war, but thank God because nobody, I mean, anybody that says that you know, they're, you know, looking forward to going to combat. Yeah, you're looking forward to going to combat, but combat is hell. So I'm I'm glad that I didn't have to go through that. And I now I have a family and everything. Maybe I wouldn't have came back. You never know. So that wasn't God's purpose for me at that time. But oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Swim qualifications sucked. I wasn't much of a swimmer, so that was out of my comfort zone. We had to swim with our packs and swim with all our gear and tread water for like 2 minutes and do all these swimming exercises. I was uncomfortable, but I passed it and got better as I went on. The rifle range, I remember they put me in glasses. They said I don't know, I had a botched eye exam and they put me in glasses. I remember and I couldn't shoot with those glasses. Couldn't shoot with them. So I took them off. I took them off, and thankfully the drill instructors didn't notice. I took the glasses off because they issued them to me, and no birth control goggles for me. And I was able to pass my the rifle test and all that, and my eyes were good. My eyes were 20/20. I don't know where they got their information, but Maybe they smoked me too hard in the pit and my eyes were puffy. I probably had sand fleas in them or something. So sand fleas, that's another thing in the Marines. When boot camp anyway. You weren't allowed to scratch. You had to let them eat. So they would slap your hands every time you would put your hand up to your face, and they'd say, "Put your hands at your sides. Let them eat."
Wow.
So it was pretty but it's all good. We're making Marines. They're making Marines. They want people to be able to do well under stressful situations.
Right. Okay. So what's you may have answered it kind of inherently there, but I was gonna say what's one of your we'll call it one of your least favorite memories from the Marines, something that was almost that you want to forget or you've tried to forget, one of your least favorite memories.
Hmm. Least favorite memories from the Marines. Hmm. Oh man. Uh, can't really pinpoint it, but I remember one time they made us run like it was like 10 miles. That was that sucked.
Mhm.
That was not fun to run 10 miles. And there's a couple of occasions where I got back from the field after doing training operations. They would make us um for some stupid reason, the officer of our platoon would say, "Hey, gents, let's go. We just got back from the field. I know you're tired, but let's go for a 3 mile or a 5 mile run, you know?" And it's just like stuff like that would make me question, like, okay, what are you doing? These guys are tired. This is not good for our morale. But hey, they want to impress their higher chain of command. So this is something that officers might do. But the enlisted men are not going for that. We're not motivated by it. We wanted the rest. So
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Mhm. Got it. And so what years?
Sure, there's more, but
Oh, no, thanks for
it
sharing
might
that.
come to me.
Sorry.
It might come to me.
Okay, okay. And this was in the time frame of what year? This is about
98 to 2002.
98 to '02. Okay. And that was straight from high school. So pretty right out of high school is
Straight from high school, yeah.
okay.
Yep.
And without without getting too deep, but you said there were a couple of things that forged you even earlier on than the Marines. So if you don't mind, not well getting too deep, what's like one of the things that forged you early on, kind of even if it's higher level about what that was like.
Yeah. Well, I had a hard life. My parents were, I'll just be honest, my parents were drug addicts,
Mhm,
heroin, and I was taken away from them at 7 years old, and I was put in foster care from 7 to about 11.
mhm,
Then eventually, I got adopted by John Magnano,
mhm,
and I moved. I was living in upstate Connecticut, Newington, Hartford area, and he took me down to Stanford.
mhm,
So just going through that, growing up without a blood relatives and feeling alone,
mhm,
and then everything that comes with being in foster care, the mistreatment, the abuse, you know, fights here and there, just stuff like that.
mhm,
So I think that a lot of anger probably um was inherited from from those occurrences, but I took it a different route. It could have been something, I could have went somewhere else with all that,
mhm,
but
mhm.
praise God, I'm at peace. I don't get angry that much anymore.
That's great. And now, so at this point now you were in Stanford. You went to Stanford High School, is that right? Or
That's correct.
okay. So what age did you come to Stanford initially? Was it junior high or was it high school? When did you
I came to Stanford when I was 11.
11? Okay.
Yeah, I was 11 years old, and I think that what was I in middle uh middle school,
Hmm.
like or fifth grade maybe.
Mhm.
something like that.
Mhm.
Went to Dolan Middle School.
Mhm.
Um, grew up Hoyt Street, across the street from the police station, the brick buildings over there
Mhm.
in Stanford.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and then we moved to Springdale, like maybe 2 or 3 years later. We moved to Springdale, which is Ho you know, and I'm in Springdale right now. I'm on Hope Street, Stanford.
Mhm.
But Springdale is where I've spent most of my time as a
Mhm.
young man.
Okay. And then sounds like faith has played a role in your life as a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, now as a small business owner and having a family. So what's talk to me a little bit about how that's played a role in your life, faith and religion and so on, how that came into your life and what role it plays.
Well, I always believed in God. I always believed in a higher power. And, like everybody, I called upon him when I needed him, not really, like a vending machine kind of thing. Lukewarm. I was very I'd say lukewarm. Um, not really having a relationship with God, not knowing him, not knowing the word.
Mhm.
So, um, one of my clients actually that came into my life, he walked in a way that I noticed. I seen some light in him that was, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm a believer, but am I practicing? Am I really getting to know God?
Mhm.
So I started seeing, that in myself and also in the way I was living and also things that I was doing and saying and how I was. Um, and I seek to improve myself through God.
Mhm.
And but he had invited me to his church, and he said, "Just come sometime." I was like, "I'll give it a shot. Why not?" And I was received very well.
Mhm.
And then one thing led after another. You know, I started to increase my faith. I started to read the Word. I started to go to church more often, and I felt good about it. It felt good to be good and start doing good, and
Mhm.
because with society and everything like that, um, sometimes it's looked down upon to do things that are good or you might be labeled a square or whatever or you know. But I've seen myself not being decent,
Mhm.
maybe not treating my wife the best or maybe drinking too much and being unprofessional at times. And I was like, I'm done with this. I want to walk more upright
Mhm.
and have in keeping with the standard of Jesus Christ, So,
Mhm.
and it's a process too, and it's we're all sinners and
Mhm.
um nobody's perfect,
Mhm.
but you give yourself a little grace, and as days go on, you mature in your faith and your spirituality,
Mhm.
and you get a closer relationship with God,
Mhm.
and that's for a Christian, that's the most important thing for us is God,
Mhm.
not our job, not our cars, not any type of idols, or not even my body. This body right here is a temple that I was a temple of God, a
Mhm.
vessel that I was given as a gift for me to do what I do for his purposes.
Mhm.
So it's humbling myself before him.
Mhm. Okay. And so I heard practicing. When you say practicing, what does that mean?
To put your faith into practice. So what you learn, you apply to life
Mhm.
because faith without works is dead.
Mhm.
So if I'm, not practicing the goodness and walking in the fruits of the spirit and, you know, helping people out when they're in need, being nice with people, being at peace and joy and being loving and caring, but also courageous and you know, heralding the truth, walking in truth, even sometimes when it doesn't tickle the ears, when it's something that you don't want to hear. But you know, in a graceful way, of course, you know, I'm not better than anybody else. So, but I'm just starting now to put things into practice, and, try to do more outside of myself and outside of my circle, but maybe help somebody else in need. And, you know, even if it's donating or giving my time, and it's not to self-exalt myself.
Mhm.
It's not, it's not because of that.
Mhm.
It's because of God's done so much for me.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. So I see personal training as a helping profession. That's my view of it, right? Especially when it's one-on-one
yes.
training. And so let's jump into that a little bit more again, because in terms of listeners to this podcast and viewers, it's what something that we've been doing so far is learning about different professions and different types of work and
Okay.
different fields. So there might be somebody out there that is, in their 20s, right? And has that
Hmm.
kind of feeling, that passion or that calling, that maybe this is something that they would want to do. So maybe you tell a little bit more about the profession, about the certifications you've got, and kind of the field kind of as a whole, in case somebody might be looking to become a personal trainer.
If somebody's looking to become a personal trainer, I would say they have to be passionate about it. It's something that exercise needs to be something that, they really like, they really enjoy. But to be a personal trainer, though, too, also you have to like to help people
Mhm.
because it's not only about you.
Mhm.
You're taking yourself out to train somebody,
Mhm.
to mold them. And I would say that don't try to be super fancy.
Mhm.
Don't try to learn the basics.
Mhm.
Find out what works. Find your style, whatever it is. Um, to use something from Bruce Lee with my take.
Mhm.
I love Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was I really admire him. He said as a sculptor, you don't keep adding clay to the sculptor. You take clay off. You find out what works and what doesn't work. You get rid of it.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like my approach to personal training a little bit.
Mhm.
Utilizing what works. It might not be fancy,
Mhm.
but it's about effectiveness. And then later on, when you become better at what you're doing, you know what you're doing.
Mhm.
And if you have that right type of client, then you could do more fancy stuff and you can really showcase some other skills,
Mhm.
programming methods or exercise techniques. But find what you like, find what you're good at, whether it be lifting, whether it be more acrobatics, more and specialize and try to get better, get really good at that one thing,
Mhm.
you know?
Huh. And did you have to get a certification when you got into the field? Was it
Yeah,
or
I got
certifications plural?
yep. Well, I'm certified with NASM.
Mhm.
Um, and every 2 years or so they have you do a continuing education course and get a specialty.
Huh.
Um, so I have mixed martial arts conditioning specialist, I have corrective exercise specialist, I have performance enhancement specialist, which is like strength coach, like training with athletes.
Mhm.
Um, I have what else? Behavior modification kind of expert dealing with the mental side of things and uh, getting to the root of what motivates an individual. Um, there's a nutrition course I did. So I got a lot of um, specialties, but the two best probably corrective exercise is probably one of the best that you can get. The performance enhancement specialist, I like that too.
Okay. And it's all under what the
National Academy of Sports Medicine.
National Academy of Sports Medicine. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
my first certification that I got when I started working at New York Sports Club was not a nationally recognized certification. I forgot what it was, but it got me in, it got a foot in the door. But from there, I wanted to go up I wanted to increase my wages, so I had to go up to the next level. Then I got, at that time, I got certified through NASM,
Mhm.
which was what they recommended me to do. And then from there, it's just specialty after specialty.
Interesting.
Uh,
Going back to say the beginnings again, if somebody might want to become a personal trainer or learning about your history. So coming at the first thing is to go work at a gym, right? So New York Sports Club in this case. I'm curious
yeah,
about the economics of that. So like sometimes like how much does the personal trainer get? How much does the gym get? In terms of percentage, I've always been curious
yeah.
about how that works.
Well, when you start off working as a personal trainer for a gym, you're not going to have clients off the bat. Usually, they're not. They might supply you with a few of your own, but they might give you like a supplement hours to, do some stuff around the gym. Maybe it's cleaning up weights,
Mhm.
maybe it's cleaning machines, and you get some hours doing that. But during that time, you might want to like talk to a few people, smile and say, introduce yourself and, offer your services because it's not going to fall in your lap. You got to go out there and you got to not be scared. You know, you have to make contact with people and offer that complimentary training session. Say, hey, I'm so and so, and you know, I, you're entitled to a complimentary training session. Are you interested in, I'll take care of you. And
Mhm.
then you let your skills do the talking in your demeanor, and hopefully that person is not only buying personal training, but they're buying you. They're purchasing you. So that would be the best way to go about it. And you got to hustle. You
Mhm.
got to go out there and make it happen as a personal trainer.
Mhm. Mhm. And for each session, the gym would get a certain, well, the gym, I guess, gets
Yeah.
all of it, right? And then they pay you a certain
And they pay
percentage.
you, yes.
Okay.
So maybe like a 60-40 split or 50-50,
Mhm.
um, something like that. You start off low when you first start off, you get in the lower end. And then as you do more hours, I
Mhm.
think you might get a jump in pay.
Mhm.
Over a certain amount of hours, you might get a jump in pay. It depends. Some gyms run it differently.
Mhm.
Um, and then as you increase your certifications, your level of you have regular trainer, then you have pro trainer, then you have master trainer. Master trainers usually get the most.
Mhm.
And then usually master trainers will be at a club for a while, and then what they'll do if they're any good, they'll start their own business.
Mhm.
They get out. They get their own facility or do what I do, house calls, parks, rent space at gyms.
Mhm.
I don't want big overhead, so I don't have my own facility right now. And I think that works for me.
Mhm.
I have a truck. I like to be out in the elements.
Mhm.
I like it the hard, rugged way, to tell
Okay.
you the truth.
Okay. What do your clients like about some of the outdoor training that you do?
Well, the fresh air,
Mhm.
you're out in nature.
Mhm.
Um, the space,
Mhm.
it's convenient for some people. Some people live close to the park where I train or another park. They might like walking. Some clients like to walk or run after a session or before. So if they're into that, um, yeah, that tranquility,
Mhm.
from being outdoors.
Mhm.
And sometimes for some people, kind of like me, they like to best the elements, whether it be hot or cold. You're like, okay, I did that. It was uncomfortable, and I did that. And it's usually something, those times in life are what you remember, right?
Mhm.
It's not the easy times in life that you remember. It's like the hard stuff that gives you that grit.
Mhm. Okay. So it could be at parks, but then it also could be you have access to different facilities and
Yep.
throughout Southern Connecticut, basically. So
Yeah.
some people prefer to train indoors and then you can do that as
Hmm.
well.
I do that as well. That's good too. Some people might want to work with barbells. So if they want to bench press, squat, deadlift, Olympic lifting, or if they're really strong and they're really trying to get improve on certain lifts. And then some people, it's what they like. They like they just like to be indoor or whatever. That's fine. That's fine. I just, obviously I take a hit in my and I usually don't pass the cost. I don't usually don't pass the cost on to the customer. I usually just, I'll take the hit. That's fine.
Mhm. Got it. And with different, I call them philosophies, right? Where I'm sure different personal trainers, just like different coaches or teachers, whatever, have different
Mhm.
overall philosophies, right, or approaches, right? And sometimes to each their own, right? We're not necessarily judging, so like,
Yeah.
everybody got their own
Yeah.
thing. But what is something you've seen in another personal trainer or another school of thought where it's just not your thing? Like, again, to each their own, but you really
Yeah.
you're not into that philosophy or that approach.
Well,
Another
well,
personal trainer.
first of all, you got to know what the goals of the client are. And depending on the goals of the client, you should specify your training to what they need. If they want to improve on balance, you do balance stuff. If they want to improve on core training, you do core training. If they want to improve on strength, you lift heavy weights or muscle that you lift in the 8 to 15, 8 to 20 repetition range. Um, and you might have somebody that wants to do a little bit of everything. So that really dictates how you train that person.
Mhm,
But I find that the most effective way to change your body, weight training is huge. Weight training with good substantial weight is not only good for maintaining muscle mass, but keeping your bones hard, so bone density,
mhm,
increasing strength, and um, the metabolic effect will have your body changing. So if you really want to change your body, I'd say weightlifting, number one. Number two is obviously cardio and stuff like that. And well, not to be overlooked, eating. The eating is probably the biggest thing if you really want to change,
mhm,
you know, um, if it's fat loss or something like that.
mhm,
But and also when you do things, do them correctly.
mhm,
Everything, every attention to detail, proper lineup of your joints, doing the exercise with a full range of motion. Like when I do lunges with somebody, their knee goes to the ground, their hips open, their hips will 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 extend, so facilitating the stretch of the hip flexor all the way down, full range of motion squats, full range of motion bench press. Under each joint is a joint, structural alignment, and everything done with intensity. Um, and you're really trying to be precise with everything. And then you you have to make sure that you don't overdo it, but don't underdo it. And then there's going to be periods where you're overreaching, you're overdoing it a little bit, but not too far. And then you scale back, and then you go up and down. So it has to be intense, but not overly intense. It's something that you can't recover from. Okay.
mhm,
But I'm very much a stickler when it comes to form and everything, attention to detail, and I'm putting my whole focus on the client.
mhm.
There's no messing around.
Okay. So I like that philosophy, and I guess on the flip side, like what's something you've seen in the industry where maybe even the personal trainers like unfortunately harming their client, maybe not maliciously, but they have a different philosophy, and you think it's almost like counterproductive or harmful. What's something you've witnessed out there that's kind of the almost like kind of the opposite of some of the stuff you said, but more specifically, because that sounds like a very
Well,
sound philosophy to
yeah,
me. But what about what's out there that can be sometimes a
yeah.
deterrent for people hiring a personal trainer because like I had this bad experience or I've seen this or my cousin had this happen to my cousin. So what do you
Uh-huh.
see out there that's maybe suboptimal in the profession that you think might be harming clients?
Maybe giving them too hard of exercises that they're not ready for, and all this like maybe they're doing all this balance stuff, and they're not able to like stand on one foot, and you got them doing all this circus work, and
Mhm,
they're falling over, and they're just not getting anywhere. They're not getting any traction. They're
mhm,
not able to feel it in their muscles. you're missing the mark. You're
Mhm.
shooting in the dark.
Mhm.
Or not having to do the exercises to full range of motion, um, not showing up, not being consistent with clients, coming late.
Mhm.
Um, also, oh, there's a lot of ways you can go wrong, man. There's a lot of ways you can go wrong in personal training. Um, but those are some of the things I see.
Okay. And we've talked a little bit in the past about range of motion versus kind of the tension, so to speak, where a bodybuilder might be more focused on the tension, whereas in terms of performance athletes, more on the range of motion. So can you tell me a little bit more? And I would still have to learn more about this, the kind of the tension versus the range of motion, like the bodybuilding versus say a performance athlete.
Well, there's different ranges of motion. You can work in a certain range of motion.
Hmm.
If you say you're weak in a certain range of motion, you might want to work over only on the bottom end of your bench press or the top end of your bench press if you have weak triceps, or you might have an injury that prevents you from going full range of motion. In that case, it might be better to go into a half range of motion or three-quarters of a way. Um, but bodybuilding and performance athletes can benefit from training in different range of motions, but primarily I believe that you should train in a full range of motion to facilitate, and for bodybuilding especially, to facilitate a full stretch of the muscle, because you're going to stretch the muscle to its full capacity and you're going to activate more muscle fibers, and there's a bigger contraction. You're throwing results out the window if you're not going full range of motion. But with bodybuilding is a slower tension. It's slower range of motion. You really want to feel it. It's not about the weight. It's about feeling the exercise, doing it really right and controlled. If you can do it with heavy weights, that's great. And do it in like, 6 to 8 reps or 10 reps, great. But bodybuilders might train a little lighter than like a power lifter or somebody whose objective is to move the weight as fast as possible with as heavy amount of weight as possible. It's power, you know. But they both benefit. Each an athlete will benefit from powerlifting and bodybuilding. They sometimes will incorporate them into their workouts. They play off of each other. A bigger athlete's going to be a stronger athlete usually if they train with explosiveness and intensity and good amount of weight.
Interesting. What's your proudest accomplishment as a personal trainer?
Oh man, probably just going out on my own, um, becoming my own man,
Mhm.
my own business, um, you know. So,
Mhm.
um, but I really like the certifications I've gotten.
Mhm.
Also, some of the results that some of my clients I've seen some transformations, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
I met some people that have been, you know, they're a different person now, more confident, they have energy, I just see the transformations in some of the people that I work with. That's very rewarding.
Mhm.
I like that.
Mhm.
And I like to see that they're getting not only stronger physically, but stronger mentally, and they're able to, and they apply this what we do in the gym or outside to their life, It's a stress that they're able to deal with me, and then other things might be a little less stressful when it comes to dealing. I'm like, okay, I did this with Mike today. All right, this little problem right here is not going to bury me.
Mhm.
I would hope that be the case,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm. It's funny how life works sometimes because with COVID and it's the adage with crisis comes opportunity. And in this case, it was very interesting point in time in that 2019, 2020 range, even
It was.
2021. And
It
but here,
was.
here, here you come and this is starting your own business during that time, essentially, right? It led to the creation of your business. Is that the timing, roughly? Around that
Yes.
year? Okay.
Yes, that's around the timing. I didn't go f officially with the company and all that, the name and all that until later, until I was until I was
Mhm.
um let go from Crunch.
Mhm. Okay. How did you come up with the name? So it's pronounced Potentiate? Is that the right pronunciation?
Potentiate.
Potentiate? How did you come up with the name?
Well, potentiate is like to increase the effectiveness of something.
Mhm.
And I think of like, like a baseball player will swing a bat with a donut on it or two bats and then gets up to the plate with that one bat. And this his bat speed is, you know, it's a faster swing.
Mhm.
So I want to do with this weight training, with the cardio, whether it be boxing, whatever it is, I want to make your workout more effective, more efficient, increase the effectiveness of what you're already doing and show you more that you can accomplish more.
Mhm.
So that's the potentiation effect.
Mhm. And what's your biggest regret as a personal trainer?
Um, Biggest regret as a personal trainer. There's been some clients that I was maybe not as polite with in the past.
Mhm.
I didn't have the right approach with them.
Mhm.
Maybe um I wasn't valuing
Mhm.
them as human beings probably. There's a cockiness and just that bad attitude.
Mhm.
And also like, you know, bringing my bad day or whatever was going on in my head
Mhm.
to a training session.
Mhm.
I don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of that is to do with God.
Mhm.
I walk with joy and happiness and love, and I want to just share that with customers and
Mhm.
clients. So yeah, I mean, I think of all personal trainers have had falling outs with clients,
Mhm.
but but I think that i- if I was more mature, that it's just a maturity thing. As I've matured, I've gotten a little bit, you know, um, more caring toward others, less self-absorbed and
Mhm.
things of that nature, you
Mhm.
know,
Sure. And do
because
you, do you,
they're hiring you to help them, um, and and that should be your purpose, and
Mhm.
that is my purpose now.
Mhm. Got it. Do you do exclusively one-on-one training? Do you also do some groups or?
I do groups, small groups. I don't like too big of a group, like 5 people,
Mhm.
you know. I have trained, I did a class before at Crunch once in a while. I had like twice, I think I subbed, but it's not really my speed. I prefer one-on-one, but I will do groups,
Mhm.
2 people,
Mhm.
um, up to 5 people.
Mhm.
So I'm not opposed to it,
Mhm.
but it's not what I specialize in.
Got it.
Because when you get a lot of people going on, it becomes harder
Mhm.
for you to really um, do your best work sometimes when you have to, you have more people to look after. And if you're doing it right, you got to check the form. You have to make sure they know how to do the exercises. It might take like one round or 2 rounds for everybody to be on board with what's going on. So could take a little bit more time to get everybody calibrated.
Mhm.
But it's good though. It's good. It's probably cost effective for people
Mhm.
who are looking to do that. They save they save money on you know, price per session.
Mhm.
And as a personal trainer, you can make more money that way too,
Mhm.
you know. But if you're doing it right, you really got to put your energy in. You have to that goes back to the point I was saying. You really have to be in a good mood. You
Mhm.
need to project that good energy with those individuals. They're not looking to your bad day to rub off on them.
Mhm.
So you really got to be chipper.
Got it. In addition to the price point where a client might say, all right, this is beneficial because the price per session is less. In addition to that benefit, what else might a client like about a group training versus a one-on-one training from the
Oh,
client
it's
perspective?
it's definitely funner. I mean, sometimes people feed off of other people. There might be a competitive aspect to it, and then just a social aspect to it. Um, you know, I believe that those are some things
Mhm.
that might attract people,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
Have you ever done any groups, trained with a group of people before?
I can't say that I have. I mean, I've played sports, so I guess practicing with this team, but not from a personal training perspective. No, I can't say that I have, that I can remember. No,
Mm,
I don't think I have.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Me personally, I like to train alone. I've had training partners before, and it just doesn't really work out for me. Um, but as Marines and football, that was something different, and that was really fun. I like that, but that was a little bit more structured, you know. But I think that if you get a group of people that are dedicated, reliable, and on the same page, and they all can converge and and be consistent, I think it can be good for people,
Okay. Great.
you know.
So do you still follow football? Do you have a favorite team or a favorite college or NFL team? Do you still follow?
I don't follow it too much. I haven't watched a football game in a while. I,
Okay.
I like to play it, but I don't like to watch it that much. It's like now I'm a father, I got two kids, and there's always something to do. I can't really sit back and enjoy it like I want to. Plus, I don't have cable.
What position did you play back in the day?
I was a defensive end, linebacker, nose tackle, and all the defensive special teams. So I was a defensive expert,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm. Got it.
wedge breaker and kickoff. I like contact.
Mhm.
So, but that was
So,
some of the best times in my life. I have dreams about playing football. I had a dream. Oh yeah, that's a memorable experience in the Marine Corps. I had a dream one time that I was playing football and I was sleeping, and in the middle of the night, I woke up and I was like, I turned over and I like pushed the lamp over because I was executing a block. I was playing football and I was executing a block and I cracked the lamp.
okay.
And my roommate wakes up like, Magnano, what the heck are you doing? So that was a good dream. But those days are over. Those were my glory days.
So that dream of a block turned into a reality that night,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
So it's funny.
Uh,
So with the podcast so far, it's been kind of, I guess, evolving. Towards the end of episodes, we usually do like a couple fun. It's ironic because these like icebreaker questions. Usually they'll come at the beginning of something. I usually do them at the end of the podcast now. But a couple fun
okay.
questions. So, if you could meet one historical figure, right? If you could have dinner with one historical figure throughout all history, who would that one person be that you would want to have dinner with? Oh,
Bruce Lee.
okay.
I gotta say Bruce Lee again.
Okay. What questions what would you want to talk about during that dinner with him? What questions would you have? What comments would you have
I
for
would talk a lot about his philosophy. I like a lot of what he had to say and how he thought about things.
Mhm.
And I would want to do a little bit of training with him and maybe some sparring and him showing me some moves.
So the dinner would turn into some sparring, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I would also probably want to eat something native to his roots too. That would be great.
What's one of your favorite movies of his?
Enter the Dragon obviously is one. I like what is it? The Chinese Connection,
Mhm.
Game of Death, you know, the whole set of all his movies.
Mhm.
I haven't watched him in a while though,
Mhm.
but Enter the Dragon was great. I think that was his biggest movie.
Okay. Another I call it a reverse icebreaker question because it's the end here, but we'll say time machine. If you could only if you could travel in a time machine but could only pick to go into the past or into the future, what which direction would you go in the time machine and to approximately what juncture in time?
Oh man,
You can't say Bruce Lee again. You can't go back in time to being Bruce Lee. It's gotta be something it's gotta be something
man,
else.
it would definitely be the past.
Mhm.
I like the past, but hmm, you know what? Now that I'm a follower of Jesus, I would say go back to the biblical times,
Mhm.
and I would love to have met Jesus
Mhm.
when he was in the flesh
Mhm. Mhm.
with us, and that'd be it.
Mhm.
Maybe maybe I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe be a
Mhm.
disciple or something,
Okay. Was there
be or
Michael?
some type of warrior or something like that. You
Okay.
know,
Okay. Good stuff, man. It's been pleasure having you, and thanks for opening up, and thanks for sharing your story. And I think the listeners would benefit here from learning about personal training and what the profession's all about. And we want to spend a couple seconds here in terms of people who want to get in touch with you, whether it's for one-on-one training, whether it's for group training, whether it's to just maybe have you as a mentor to as they embark on their journey as a personal trainer. I don't know if you're looking to hire personal trainers yourself for your team and mold some
Mhm.
junior trainers, but so go through some of your coordinates, whether it's social media, emails, take your time with it, phone number. What do you have that you want to share here?
Well,
And then I'll try to post it in the show notes as well with your contact information.
yeah. Well, your listeners
Mhm.
could reach me, my phone number. They can, it's 203-621-4929. You can text, tell me who you are and what you need. We can set up a complimentary training session. That would be the best approach. Or you can email me, magnano.michael@yahoo.com.
Mhm.
Also, I give you a business card. I have a website.
Mhm.
Um, it's it's Potentiate Fitness CT dot com. Um, I maybe you can post the business card I gave you.
Sure, sure. And
Um,
I've just seen heard on other podcasts sometimes this gets kind of rushed through. So let's do it one more time. So in case somebody's listening, they would have a pen out. So what's the phone number again? Phone number?
phone number's 203-621-4929. And they can
And
call or text and let me know what they need.
great. And
And
then
or the
the
email to magnano.michael@yahoo.com.
Magnano's Magnano dot Michael
Magnano. Yep, that's correct.
dot Michael at
I
Yahoo.
have the website. You can post my business card with the information on there if you can do that to your link or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Um, so they can check it out and see what I'm about.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me. This is great. This is out of my comfort zone. I usually don't, you know, um, I get nervous
Mhm.
a little bit talking with people,
Mhm.
especially in a public setting like this.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it's um, a light is meant to be put into a high place to be seen.
Mhm.
Not you don't put a candle in a box. So it's time to get out there and do some stuff that's uncomfortable for me. And I really appreciate your time too and putting me in this element.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate you being forthright throughout the interview. I think you were very candid and honest and open, and you shared a lot, and I think people benefit from that, and I appreciate that. And I enjoyed the interview, and look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, man, you can't go wrong keeping it real and just being honest,
Agreed.
you know. All
Agreed.
right.
All right, man. Have a good
Thank you
one.
very much,
Thank
Matthew.
you. Okay,
Look
you got
forward
it.
to seeing you in a training session.
Yes, sir.
All
Bye bye.
right. Adios.